Good afternoon, gang. It is just short of 5 o'clock here on Saturday afternoon. And yeah, I know it's not normal that I make a video on Saturday afternoon, but this one's kind of important. And what I wanted to talk about and show you is it seems that the people have finally freaking had enough in most of the country, in most of the countries around the world. We'll see how it floats in the U.S. here too. Give you a couple of things of what's going on. France, 10th straight weekend that there's been massive protests in France against passports and and mandates. Okay, so the French have grown a spine. All right, so finally we're starting to see something there. Canadians, okay, today, Calgary and Toronto, at least, there's probably more, but I haven't seen it, massive anti-passport, anti-lockdown, anti-mandate protests. Canada has an election come Monday morning, or, well, come all day Monday. And Sparkle Socks, as North Shore calls him, Justin Trudeau, called this special election, figuring, a few months ago, figuring, hey, this was a chance for his Liberal Party to gain more seats in Parliament and whole nine yards. And unfortunately for him, what it's looking like is his party's probably going to lose seats, and he might lose being Prime Minister. Okay. Now, the interesting part with all of this is the leading person, Aaron O'Toole, to unseat Trudeau isn't exactly the end-all, be-all, bee's knees, if you will. Okay, I mean, the Tories, the Conservative Party, called Tories in Canada, aren't exactly the Conservatives like we all are, okay? Basically, you can take the Conservative Party, and the best comparison I could make to them in the U.S. is they're the rhinos, okay? Because O'Toole, well, economically and fiscally conservative, he is still very much socially progressive. Let's put it this way. He still believes in lockdowns. He still believes in mandates. He's still pro-abortion, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If you want to get to a real conservative party in Canada, that's the Canadian People's Party, the CPP. And, they're fledgling, so, they're not going to get anywhere. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens in Canada come Monday. Now, where it gets real interesting, and this kind of piggybacks off what I was talking about this morning, is in Australia. Okay? And the Aussies have had it. And there's protests like crazy going on in Australia. And like we've all said, it's about time something actually happened. We've all said there's millions of us and hundreds of them. I want you to watch this clip real quick and see what happened. This was a protest today in Australia. So let me play this real quick and I'll be right back.
tough chick. Spraying on them, girl.
You enjoy hurting people. You enjoy hurting people. That's what you do. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
You know, they gutless fucks, aren't they? Jumping a guy on the ground, like. Nice exercise you don't know all that.
All right. So you saw this clip. I apologize for the salty language that was in there. Obviously, that wasn't me, but yeah, there was a little bit. Notice what happened. Finally, the millions of us, you know, in this case, thousands, versus the hundreds of them, in this case, dozens of police. The crowd finally decided, to hell, screw them. We're going through this like shit through a goose. And they just stormed the police and ran right through. And if you notice, you know, the police are there spraying with, you know, what looked like silly string, but, you know, obviously it's pepper spray or something like this, you know, and I get a kick out of the fact that, you know, ooh, let's go after the girls. But if you watch the video, notice what happened. The cops literally backed away and off to the side pretty quickly because, and there's multiple videos on this that you can find today. This is just one. But, you know, the cops knew that we're outnumbered. This ain't going to happen. And we're not going to be able to stop these people. Now, I didn't see anything like this in any of the video I saw, like I said, in Calgary or in Toronto or anything like that. Those seem to be more peaceful protests. But my point is, like everything else, the United States, with this whole crazy crap going on the last year and a half, the United States is pretty much a month or so behind. Now, we're not seeing any of these protests like we're seeing in Canada and France, in Australia, because the people haven't been pushed that far. You know, we haven't been locked down like Australia has. We haven't had the police walking through restaurants asking people to show their passport or their, you know, shot records, if you will, like they have in France. Okay, you're not having the same thing go on, you know, like going on in Canada, where, you know, you're not being told you can't go anywhere, etc. We're not having that yet. Okay, and you know what's going on is the Biden administration is watching all of this and going, can we get away with this? Can we get away with this? Can we get away with this? His speech last week, you know, hey, we're going to mandate any company with over 100 people. And, you know, the fallout from this is already a disaster for them. So they'll try something else, you know damn well, because, again, it goes to the question that everybody asks. Why is it so damn important to every government to do? When has the government ever cared about somebody's health? If the government cared so much about any government, any company, or any country, if the government cared so much about people's health, why is tobacco still legal? Why is alcohol still legal? I mean, in the majority of the world, okay? Why haven't we spent trillions upon trillions upon trillions of dollars, or yen or yuan or rubles or marks, or, well, not marks, euros? Why haven't we spent that on cancer research? You know, if all of a sudden we can find a cure for what ails you here in the last year and a half, why the hell haven't they been able to find a cure for cancer? Why hasn't there been the effort, the worldwide effort for something like that, like there is for this, okay? This is my point. So when it gets down to the point of these types of protests happening in the U.S., and you know they're coming, okay? As soon as Biden decides to put some more totalitarian dictators mandate upon the people, it's coming. Here's the difference. The Aussies aren't armed. The French aren't armed. The Canucks aren't armed. The Americans are. And Biden knows that. And that's what you guarantee scares the crap out of him. It's the only thing right now. The Second Amendment is the only thing that is holding back not only the United States, but the world from becoming a worldwide prison. Because these dictator wannabes in all these countries have no problem trying to squash the people everywhere else. They know they can't do it here because we have the ability to fight back. This is why, for so many years, now we all know this takeover by the socialists around the world didn't happen overnight. We know this has been a plan in motion for years. But this is why it's so important for them to take away the 2A. Because if they can disarm the American public, then they can run roughshod over the American people. And no world socialist, World Economic Forum type, no world government will ever work if the U.S. isn't involved. So they have to get the U.S. And that 2A, that nasty little Second Amendment, is just pissing them off. Stand up for your rights. Aussies, I'm proud of you today for finally saying to hell with this. We're doing what we want, okay? This is not a prison colony anymore, penal colony anymore. Just keep going at this, guys, but be ready, because when this crap hits the streets of New York, the streets of Chicago, the streets of Omaha, the streets of Cincinnati, the streets of Paducah, Kentucky, just be ready, because we all know they're eventually, if they keep pushing something like this and don't back down on people, there's going to be a shot heard around the world. We'll see y'all tonight at 9 o'clock for a live stream. I'm betting this will probably be a good portion of the conversation tonight. Have a good afternoon, y'all. Pinball up.